fredperry.com. Obviously, it's a really, really strong brand. But I just wanted, a lot of the time, when a website has a strong brand, gets a lot of search, sometimes they can leave things out of the website or they might not take care of it and, what's the word, take advantage of where they could get non-branded searches basically. But yeah, it looks to be a pretty nice, clean, simple template. Get rid of this. We've got a nice main navigation into a mega menu. You can see all the different categories there. Got a couple of new releases. That must be a bit of a hero product. Different collaborations, edits. There's a kids section under the men's section, which doesn't really make sense. I don't know why they've got this divider line. Um, but yeah, I think they could have maybe have another subheading under there because they're different sorts of categories. Shop all men alike at the top normally as well. Women's as well. Kids, not too sure why that's there. Gifts. Yeah, so this is a bit of a sticking point. They should really have a drop down where the kids collection is. So as much as you can sort of segment your menu into different collections and different pages, basically, it looks like they've got women's kids, well, girls and boys, basically. They should have a kids drop down with those. I'm guessing there's different types of kids clothing. Okay, so they've got two for a pair of shirts for kids. I've got a couple more long sleeve and stuff like that. So it's definitely worth having like kids shirts or something like that. Not much in the way of above the fold copy. So the interesting setup where there's two hero products, then a drop down, then all the collection. Add to baskets. That's good for UX just to get it straight in there. Prevent any barriers to entry for someone making a purchase, basically. Okay, let's have a look at a collection. So men's polo shirts. Obviously, this is not really. I mean, for Fred Perry's men's polo shirts, this should rank first. It's not going to have any. Can't imagine it having much competition. Obviously, there's going to be third party sellers and stuff like that, but it could be improved on. I mean, let's just have a look. So if we go Fred Perry polo shirts, what comes up? Polo shirts for men. That page I've just been on, but I've not put for men. I've not put for women. So really, obviously, men's will probably be slightly more popular. If we have a men's category and segment that into men's and women's, that'd work better. So I think in the menu, I know they've got men, women's, gifts, kids, subculture, but if they just had like a collections page where they have men's and women's polo shirts in the same collection, and then divvy that out into these two sub collections like they've got here, then this page would be men's polo shirts. It should really have in the H1. I'm guessing women's polo shirts doesn't have women. Yeah, so it's got polo shirts there. It's a small point, and people, it'll be generally men searching for it, but it's still worth taking a look at. Let's have a look at another one. So we're going to shorts. Okay, so there's not much product coverage at all. Classic sweatshorts. I mean, if there's only two types of shorts, basically, I don't really have an issue with changing this category to be Fred Perry sweatshorts or men's Fred Perry sweatshorts. Unless they're going to potentially be adding more products in, they'll know better. Then that's where I'd speak to the client and go, could you potentially be adding different types of products to this, or is this just going to be sweatshorts for the foreseeable future? Then keep it as that. Let's have a look at t-shirts. Okay, so it's pretty good in the way of variation. I tend to like to see, I mean, are they t-shirts? Well, long sleeve, I suppose, but I like to see a lot of variation in the above the fold. So the first four products in the product grid, I like to see color variation, style variation, just to show the user that there is product coverage there straight away. Even if there's a lot more variation down, people are more impatient than ever. So if we had maybe we've got a black, white, white, black, or black, green, white, whatever, khaki or whatever it is. So we have a look at the faceted nav. Okay, so that's a little bit misleading because I was like hoping I could go on click on the plus sign, but you have to hover on it. So there's only one collection in here, so it's a bit pointless having that filter. You might as well just get rid of the collection filter if there are all these reissues, um, or at least put the antonym for reissues like reissues and then new collection or whatever. So let's have a look at color. So let's click on reissue, see what happens. So there's only one item that's a reissue as well. So you have to click apply, which I'm not a massive fan of. And it takes you to, oh, it does change the H1. So this is a dynamic URL, but it does change the H1. So it's quite an interesting setup where this is a dynamic URL. So this URL could index, but it's not static. It's not been made as a reissue URL sort of thing. So if we clear the filters, this should change back to t-shirts, yeah. So let's ignore the reissues for now. We'll click white color. It tells you the number of items, which is good for UX. I like that. Apply. And it changes the H1 to white, but on the static t-shirts page. What I'd advise they do in this case is if they've got enough product, which it looks like they have, did they say they got in there? Color white 23. Let's see how many they've got in total. Did it say how many? 108. So they've got 23 white men's t-shirts out of 108. So that would warrant a new sub collection. So let's see what happens if we search for white Fred Perry polo shirts. Okay, so it does come up with the collection page, but the, if I was the competition here, this is where I'd be looking to take advantage of. Like mainline menswear, it's just a broad collection page. House of Furniture, broad collection page. These are all high authority sites, but I'd be looking if I stock white polo, Fred Perry white polo shirts. There's a chance you could break in there, so it could be worth Fred Perry sort of anticipating that, creating a white Fred Perry polo shirts page. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Polo shirts. Okay, got to filter again. Oh, right, t-shirts before. Right. Sleeve length. Apply. Responsible features. I'm not too sure what that means, to be honest. So that maybe they need to rename that, see what the competition are doing. Again, we could have a line of above the fold copy just going into the different styles. What's it look at like at the bottom? 120 items. So they've got pagination in place, but they've got a hell of a lot of products before you can get onto page two. 120 products showing, and I've not changed any filters there. That's just the default. I'd say you don't need that many products showing, to be honest. And if you're having pagination, 30 products or something, like around that sort of range is okay, because people will see at the bottom, oh, click page two, three, four. And we've got to remember, crawlers cannot always see all the products as well in the first load. So if we're going to filter collection category. This is a bit of a bugbear of mine. I keep seeing it on e-commerce stores when you go to a product category or collection page, and then they have categories within the category, which includes the category. I've said category about a million times, but then other types. So these are all polo shirts. All I want to see is polo shirts. That's what the category is. We don't need to see knitwear, the Fred Perry shirts. They're different categories. Why are you telling us about them? Maybe I've related categories at the bottom, but why should I be able to select polo shirts when that's what they should all be anyway? So you're telling me in the polo shirts category, only I think there was 108, only half of them are actually polo shirts. Doesn't make sense. So there are a couple of things to look into. But because of the strength of the brand, it's always going to rank well. I think for ones like this, I'd look at the client site and just go, right, it's ranking well for all these. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Look for there'll be some small gaps when even the authority is not sort of carrying over in the competition of sneaked in because they've created like a sub collection like that white Fred Perry polo shirts. And because their results more relevant, the users found it more beneficial. They've got a better price, other features like that, and they can just like take back over basically.